So, who here thinks smoking is bad? I can't be the only one, surely. Come on, hands up. Right? It's good to see that most people do. But did you know that twice as many people end up in hospital every year because of driving rather than smoking? Or did you know that diabetes alone causes 5 times more deaths than smoking? This whole war against smoking, it's just government propaganda. The reality is that in the last decade, the government has lost control over the tobacco industry, and now they're trying to convince you it's horrible for your health. Now, I use these arguments, even though I just made them up, with my friends, and 5 of them believed me. Thankfully, none of them started smoking. But unsurprisingly, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that smoking is really bad, but at least it explains my argument. It's so easy to lie. So who here has lied? I can't be the only one, surely. No, let's not try and look pretentious. I think we've all done it. Some of us were better liars than others. Some of us practice it more. And the worst case scenario, the person right next to you, maybe your best friend, they're a pathological liar waiting for your downfall. But why do we lie? And why do we do it without even realizing it sometimes? I watched a really interesting talk the other day that said, and I quote, "You're lied to 200 times a day." And if you think about it, I find this fascinating, by the way, across every single culture and society and group, there's one idea, one narrative, which is properly reinforced into every single kid from since they learn to talk, which is, don't lie, tell the truth. So why do we do it? Why are we all such liars? I remember I used to go to this after-school club back in primary school, and I used to be able to play with this Hot Wheels set. And of course, there weren't enough tracks for everyone, so we had to split them up evenly, right? And I was at that age where I was able to understand the basic moral complications of lying, but I can assure you some of the other kids there definitely weren't. So if I was playing with someone and I had to leave for a couple minutes, you know when I came back, their track was going to be double the size of mine and half of my pieces missing. So why did that 7-year-old kid decide that Tuesday afternoon was his prime opportunity to prove he was better at Hot Wheels by lying? I honestly couldn't tell you. But what I do want to talk about, though, is if lying is necessarily bad. I know, weird question to be asking a group of people who I've just exposed for being liars, but lying, does it necessarily make you a bad person? Because in that case, everyone's bad, right? But I don't think that's the whole story. See, telling someone their hair looks great as a conversation starter is probably not too bad, right? You've actually made their day. Whereas on the other hand, telling your teacher that you completely understand what she's been talking about for the last hour, that's probably going to hurt you more than the next person. So where do we draw the line on lies and say that's fair and justified? And where is it harmful for you or another person? Well, I think there's 2 ways that as a society we've sort of managed to rationalize lying. The first one being making someone else feel good in a social sort of situation. It's like saying to someone, "Hey, you look really great," even though they look like they've just woken up from a coma and haven't showered for 2 days. Or telling your friend, "Yeah, I haven't completed my assignment either," even though you did it a week ago and it's due tomorrow, but you just don't want them to get stressed out about it. And then the second one is kind of making up something which you just haven't done, but making it sound reasonable enough so that your friends will believe you, right? So the only purpose the lie serves is making yourself look better in that sort of situation. And I think one thing that in this room, hopefully we can all agree on, is that it doesn't feel great to figure out you've been lied to. So instead of actually fixing the problem of unjustified lying, right, as a society we've sort of said, what if we just get really good at lying so no one can figure it out? And we have. And something I find so fascinating is that evolution, as a theory, has answers to so many of our questions. As I was researching this, I learned that over the last 150,000 years, our brains have actually not really changed that much. For reference, we've been around our species for about 200,000. So that means that the brain that was justifying lying 150,000 years ago was also probably the one that survived in more challenging or like life-threatening situations when compared to someone who was only telling the truth all the time. So maybe what I could be trying to say is that lying in some situations isn't always bad. So hopefully in this room I've like convinced everyone here and we can totally agree that lying is completely justified. Right? So for those situations, here are a couple of tips and tricks you can take on board on how you can learn how to lie like a pro. So, number one, you want to make sure, stand back, sit up straight or whatever, stand up straight, shoulders back, and be confident in your lie. That's very important. Number two, it has to be believable if you are lying. So, make sure it's not too waffly. So you need to make sure you don't start talking about your 80-year-old neighbor when you try and present the homework lie. Like, of course your 80-year-old neighbor wasn't playing music too loudly. That's why you couldn't do it. And finally, fake it till you make it. You don't want to be the guy who's like not able to make a sentence properly. So that's really important, so don't be that guy. So if you want to master lying, you can give these tips a go if you can believe me. Thanks so much.